Welcome back to D&D Recap 2. Since we last saw our party, they found themselves poisoned and left to sleep in the deserts of Ocassus, just outside the capital city of Freemarch. In the Sea of Tents, the party met an unexpected ally, Roxroy Rosenvinge, a Paladosian refugee who was taken in as a slave on the same ship they found themselves on only 2 days prior. Roxroy offered shelter to the party in his tent and shared his supplies and food. Additionally, Roxroy told his account of what happened 10 years ago when Faye the Hexed made her return to Palados. He also shared his knowledge of the sea creature Lukun that terrorized their village as it relates to his Hutran religion. After Gunk gifted Roxroy the turtle Squim and Crispin read Roxroy's tarot, the party decided to get some much needed sleep for the night. However, in the solace of his dreams, Gunk experienced a night terror wherein he was isolated from his wife and fed to a demon-like face by the twisted hands dripping black. In the morning, Gunk knew he had to shake off the dread that he had felt from the nightmare and get to business to enter Freemarch. Upon approaching the gates, the party observed many refugees originating from all over Enoria attempting to enter Freemarch. This ongoing commotion resulted in the stationing of a plethora of guards at the gate, as well as patrolling the tents set up by those displaced by the homes. In his watchfulness, Gunk relayed a plan to Animax to share with the rest of the party. A plan wherein he, Fish, and Roxroy would pose as slaves while Crispin and Animax would play as the part of guards, transporting them into the city. The plan, although methodic, had a clumsy start as the party needed to ambush 2 guards to attain disguises. Initially, the guards answered Animax's pleas to help corral some unruly slaves in the tent as Gunk, Roxroy, and Fish lie in wait, ready to attack. With a successful sneak attack, Gunk latched onto the unsuspecting guard, scrambling to poison him, while Fish hurled the other guard into the desert sand. Overcome with emotion, Roxroy found himself in a rage, endlessly pulverizing the guard as tears streamed down his face. I suppose he's been through a lot. In a rush to de-escalate the situation, Fish gave Roxroy a good kick, leveling with him, barbarian to barbarian, and leading him away from the mess. As one guard lay mutilated on Roxroy's bearskin rug, Gunk overpowered the other one, finally coating him in his paralytic slime. After donning the armor, casting sleep on an already paralyzed set of guards, and tying them up, the party knew that their time to execute the ploy was limited, so they needed to move fast. Assembling an appropriate arrangement, Crispin led the trek to the front gates, but they were stopped. Documentation, demanded the guard, but they did not have anything of the sort. So, the sorcerer resorted to the next best thing. Oliver Greenrock's orb from the Parmarth Institute, awkwardly handing the gatekeeper the orb, he was met by Angela, an agent of the college. After deceiving her into explaining that the party were students transporting slaves into the city, the guard questioned why students of the Parmarth Institute would be wearing guards' armor, to which Crispin swindled, "Cosplay?" And this miraculously worked. The guard was so touched, in fact, that he shared his own experience of theatrical fun with the party. But they were not very interested and continued to move on into the city. Once in the capital city, the party knew the first order of business was to cure Fish of his regressive curse at the Hutran Temple. While Gunk and Animax stayed behind to ensure they were not followed, Fish and Crispin entered the temple. Roxroy immediately made his leave and began praying. The High Cleric of the Sanctuary, Gustav, welcomed the Orc and Genasi before sending Ayuna and Daruna, 2 elvish children aiding at the temple, to get them restorative tea for their fungus-related toxins. Feeling quite parched, Gunk gulped his tea vigorously before splattering it all over himself, the floor, and the twins. Sipping his tea suspiciously, Crispin watched in horror as the events unfolded, apologizing on behalf of the oafish ally and asking where he may find the remedy for his curse. Gustav led Fish to an ornate room with an octagon-shaped bath, housing small fish where he would need to soak. Fish completely undressed for the ritual, frightening the other patrons who were undergoing a similar purification. Once in the water, the fish ate away at his curse as Fish underwent the ritual, leading to his age being restored back from 16 to 22. After attaining a small Karashi trinket and an unsettling prospect about their families, Fish and Crispin left the temple, meeting back with the others who'd ultimately decided to split up and meet back at the Full Moon Inn at sunset. At Everflame Forge, Fish bought a new greatsword from an old orcish friend, Shadu Ugarth, while Gunk browsed. At Jacques' Emporium, Animax bought a small set of mushroom salt and pepper shakers from the deceitful Haragon, Jacques Lightbeam, whose attempts at trickery would not fool the changeling. Crispin opted to visit the Arcana store, Embers and Ashes, which to his surprise was owned by a member of the Vestiary, Smoking Mirrors. After assessing Oliver's orb and the suspicious weapon of warning that Crispin acquired, Mirrors informed him of a vision that Cathia Bariam, his old guardian at the Vestiary, had seen. She told Mirrors that in Crispin's future she saw blood and death, but could not determine the true nature of the revelation. As he listened, Crispin spotted an intricate necklace that called to him, which he purchased before leaving the store to meet his allies at the Full Moon Inn together. In the tranquility of the inn, the party approached a short, gentle-looking Kalishtar woman, Otille Highstone, who Animax immediately took an interest to. After a failed attempt to woo her, a familiar face to Animax, Gunk, and Fish entered the dining hall. The Goliath, Ashanti Wildspeaker Olira, who owns the Black Forage in Salmu. Defending her friend, Ashanti met the group with disdain, wondering why they have not been at the tavern in a while and why they looked awful. After hearing of their struggles, her rigidity of disposition changed, seeing that she purchased the party rooms at the inn. Upon seeing her robustly lift a barrel, Animax's interest piqued with Otille, and his advances led to an invitation to her quarters in that night. As the party retired to their rooms, Gunk eavesdropped on a private conversation between Otille and Ashanti, hearing only fragments of the discussion. Later, Animax journeyed to Otille's room and was met with a romantic scene of red-lit candles. Although Otille's demeanor had changed, the intensity of the encounter left her nervous, and performance at a nat 1. However, Animax was confident with his virginal energy, performing at a nat 20. After this encounter, Pillow Talk revealed more of Otille and Ashanti's chat. Otille briefly informed Animax that she and Ashanti are a part of a like-minded group, of which her sister, Elowyn Highstone, is the leader of. All the while Animax had his risque meeting, Fish lay in his bed, dreaming a horrible dream of a demon imploring him to slaughter patrons at his home, the Black Forage. Fed up, Fish approached Gunk in the morning, asking if he had a nightmare too. In his own creative way, Gunk was able to tell Fish that he was terrorized as well, and they decided that the best course of action was to ask Animax what he thought. Followed by an alley cat, they began their mission. After accidentally walking in on a barmaid, they were able to find Animax sleeping in Otille's bed, waking him from a peaceful slumber and pressing him for opinions. In a huff, Animax implored his colleagues to why they did not question their resident mage of magical happenings. Upon being summoned, Crispin decided that in order to confront the demonic creatures inhabiting their dreams, he would need to visit the Plane of Dreams. Luckily, the party found themselves in the company of two spiritualistic individuals. Although the two druids were unsure of the correct spell to execute, Ashanti researched rituals related to abyssal demons, where Otille gathered supplies. In a circular ward of complex arcane symbols, Gunk, Fish, and Crispin sat as Ashanti cut their hands to offer blood as a catalyst. In the Plane of Dreams, Fish and Gunk sat on blue clouds and frolicked with the stars of the galaxy, situated above their heads, while Crispin floated among the planets, deep in a dream of his own. In a similar fashion to his allies, Crispin's dream consisted of a betrayal by the hands of his partner, Ephraim Thatterline, and he was left to the will of the same demonic figure that tormented Gunk and Fish. Fortunately, the ornate necklace that Crispin bought from Smoking Mirrors casted a protective ward over him before he was thwarted back to Otille's room, along with his counterparts. Returning from the transcendence that lasted only seconds in the material plane, an essence of smoke and crimson emerged from Crispin and surged around the room, creeping into Animax. Struggling to break him, Animax fought the corruption until he ultimately fell victim to a daunting vision of his deceased mother and the destruction of the Pastafarian compound by the mangled hands of his previous dreams 3 days prior. Before waking, the devilish creature emerged from the skin of his writhing mother and denounced Mesro, his god. Thrusted back to the present at the Full Moon Inn, the evil essence emerged from Animax's face and continued to swirl around Otille's room, pressing for a way out. After leaving her room and frightening the patrons in the dining hall, Ashanti threw open a window, leaving the creature to rush out of the inn, burning ashes and char into the windowsill. Exhausted and confused from the events of the last hour, the party overhears fanfare in the streets as guards demand that the citizens in the street make way for the meeting of the Five Holds. We will leave off there. What will be in store for our adventurers as they journey through the chaotic desert city? Will Gunk discover the decade-old mysteries of Palados? Will Animax learn more of the conspicuous organization that his acquaintances find themselves connected to? Will Crispin expose the source of evil tormenting he and his counterparts? Will Fish be reunited with his mercenary group with the help of Ashanti? We might find this out and much more next session.